Hello and welcome. My name is Martin, and this is the Blueprint Podcast brought to you by Bench. At the Blueprint Podcast, we talk about how AI will impact engineering teams and how it is doing so already. Our goal is to democratize practical AI knowledge to enable ambitious teams to thrive in this new paradigm. Today, my guest is Abhinav, a technical manager at Sentio Technologies and a previous senior CAE analyst at companies like Magna. Welcome to the podcast, Abhinav.
Yes, it's pleasure to be on your podcast.
So Abhinav, tell us a bit about your current role and your online presence with My Physics Cafe, because I know you've amassed quite a bit of a following on LinkedIn and other platforms.
Yeah. So I've been into CAE space since the last 7 years, and I have worked on many different tools as well as in many different roles. So I had started with working as a CAE intern during my initial days of career. Then I moved on to become a CAE engineer. Then I became CAE analyst. Then followed by senior CAE analyst. Then I became a technical support engineer, or in other words, it is also called as application engineer. And now in my current role, I'm working as a technical support manager. So my job basically is an intersection, sits at the intersection of engineering and customer support, where for the sales teams, I help them in giving technical demos, software, running the software, then giving technical discussions to prospects, also delivering trainings on the software which they have bought from us, as well as it also revolves around problem solving, meaning I try to debug or I provide solution by debugging the errors which they face while using that software. So it's quite challenging. Yeah, it's quite challenging, and I enjoy working as an application engineer.
Awesome. And what industries have you spanned as a CAE engineer? Because I know automotive for sure with Magna. Was there any other ones?
Yes. So I have worked most of my career, I have worked as a crash and safety engineer in Magna Automotive. Other companies I have been associated with are John Deere, Riomold, Elino, and currently I'm working at Sentio Technologies.
Awesome. Great. And tell us a bit about your online presence with My Physics Cafe.
Yes, so my physics cafe is nothing but a side hustle, you can say. It is a kind of a hobby. I love to write technical articles. So it started during COVID lockdown. So during that time we had ample amount of time. We had a lot of time. So that during that time I thought, how do I spend my time? So I started writing. Initially, it wasn't a blog at all. There wasn't any website. I just wrote my thoughts on a notebook. So I showed it to my friends, and I got the feedback from my friends that you write very good. You should start your own blog. So that's how I started my physics cafe. So I bought a domain initially, myphysicscafe.com. Then I started writing. I didn't have in mind any target audience or any strategy in place. I just randomly started writing. But when I started to publish them on LinkedIn, when I started promoting them on LinkedIn or other social media like Instagram or Facebook, I got I started getting good response. So then I decided a strategy. I decided upon a strategy, and then I worked along with it. So it's been 5 years since I started the blog, and it has become a well-known platform in the CA industry currently.
Great. We love the story. Awesome. In that case, let's dive a little bit deeper into AI and CAE. One of your blogs on the My Physics Cafe blog talked about AI and CAE, and that was back in the 2024, I think in December. And back then,
Yes.
you noted that most manufacturers back then are still in the early stages of integrating AI into their workflow.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
curious to see, how have you seen the technology of AI kind of within CAE change over the last year? And have you seen adoption follow?
Okay. So I would say it's a kind of mix. There is also a lot of hype, but at the same time, there is also a lot of work going on when it comes to AI and engineering. So I have seen many OEMs. One example is Siemens, who are rapidly evolving their, we can say, softwares or software ecosystem in terms of when it comes to AI, integrating AI into their workflows. They are doing some genuine, meaningful work in that area. while there is also a lot of hype going on, means there is a general misunderstanding between people that AI will completely replace CA engineers in some years, or CA engineers will be totally irrelevant in next 4 to 5 years. But that is simply not true, because AI will definitely speed up our work, or it will replace manual or repetitive work, but it will not completely replace CA engineers because of obvious reasons. Because CA involves a lot of complexities. It is not a straightforward thing. It includes physics, understanding the boundary conditions, understanding how a design is going to work, etc. So, uh, having said that, many companies are developing their models or developing their software where they can automate repetitive tasks. So currently, most of the software, CAE software that I have seen, so they are currently in the stage that they have developed a bot, we can say, chat bot. It is a kind of a helper, we can say, while using a software. So in case, say for example, I'm operating a totally new simulation software, and I don't know how to apply boundary condition. Say for example, I don't know how to apply heat transfer for an XYZ model or to a free body diagram. So if there wasn't AI, a lot of my time would be consumed in hunting for the tools. Where are the tools? Go to the help menu, then search in the search bar where that feature actually is. Then go and find that option, and then also again see how we can apply that condition to so and so in a particular environment. But with the help of AI chatbots, the work has become easier, and it acts as your helper or your assistant while you are running an analysis, or simply while you're doing a boundary condition setup, pre-processing.
So are you seeing kind of AI mostly help in kind of essentially finding the right tools and the right functions to call, but quicker?
Yeah. Yes. Right.
Okay. And are these kind of native tools within tools like ANSYS or Star CCM, or kind of how do you see them pop up in the space?
And since I'm not much aware about, but because most of my work revolves around software from Siemens or Keysight Technologies. So Siemens, they are rapidly developing their landscape in terms of AI. They have implemented AI in almost all of their software portfolio. The portfolio is around 40 to 50 software, and almost in 99% of them, AI will be there. So what they have done is they have interconnected all those software. It is called Thread, Siemens Thread. It is called digital thread. It is most popularly known. So it interconnects all the software, and say for example, there is a manufacturing suite where there will be simulation of, for example, casting simulation. Then that data is interconnected to a software which will be used for post processing. So that work is saved, means whatever results I will get out of casting simulation or any manufacturing process simulation, that output data is automatically read by the post processing software inside that digital thread. And I can then directly use my engineering judgment for analyzing what kind of output I got and how it will affect the design. So I can directly jump to preparing the report. So lot of time is saved in post processing, which without AI, while conventional, while doing it in a conventional way goes.
That makes sense. Um, and I know that in your current role, you work with many different companies, kind of supporting them on their digital transformation journeys. So, without kind of course, talking about the specifics of any clients or their workflows, are you seeing any pattern kind of among kind of who applies AI, how they do it, kind of where they're seeing success?
Yes, as I said earlier, startups are also participating in this AI race. And also, there are many other individual companies apart from giant OEMs like Siemens or ANSYS. There are other small companies as well who are trying their best to bring new products in market. And so, one example I had recently seen some couple of days ago, I don't remember exactly the name of that startup, but they have launched a product, or they have launched a website where we can readily get the material data available to us. It reads, it scan whenever we type a particular material which is required for our CAE analysis. We need material data, right? Which is derived from real world testing conditions. So that material data or whatever the load curve. So the website scans all the previous uploaded data, or it scans the pattern available on the internet and then provides you that exact material data for that exact material grade we require. So that is a good development which startup and small companies are making.
That's interesting. So we haven't seen this one specifically. But kind of to kind of refocus my question a bit, I even more so meant the clients, kind of the OEMs or the suppliers. Kind of are you seeing within those any patterns of who is most interested in AI solutions or who is having the most success adopting those tools in their workflow?
Okay. So currently I see Siemens only, who is accelerating, maybe through either through acquisitions or by developing their own systems. I could say Siemens is currently ahead in the race.
Very interesting. Um, do you have any advice? So what we're seeing in the market currently is a lot of managers or senior analysts are kind of looking to adopt AI. They know that it's going to impact their work in the future, but they don't really know where to start. Either what tools to choose, which workflow to try to automate, how to share data with AI, with any tools, kind of securely. Do you have any advice for let's say managers who might be listening, who are looking to adopt AI into their workflow but don't know where to start exactly?
I would say they should start from a place where there is least amount of engineering work involved, because the kind of work that a simulation engineer does is like analyzing, using their engineering judgment, then defining the problem statement. But there are also work. There is a type of work during the whole process which is very manual or very repetitive, which can be automated. So companies or managers should start from that place where engineering is least amount of engineering is required.
Do you mean like report writing? Do you mean like report writing?
Report writing, yes.
Mhm.
Some tedious tasks like geometry cleanup.
So have you seen geometry cleanup work already using AI?
Yes, I have seen it. There's a company called Sukaba. Yeah. So they are actively working in that domain.
Okay, awesome. How yeah, have you seen any kind of any of your clients have success with them, or kind of have you seen any limitations or anything they're doing particularly well?
Limitations, there are, I will say AI is not yet 100% perfect uh, when it is integrated with CAE, because CAE I feel is a people's job. Means man is a social animal. AI cannot be social. For this, I can give you an example of my own role, or maybe my previous role as a CA engineer. So we need to talk with various customers. We need to help them understand how so and so solution is the right one, or how it correlates with the physical testing results. We need to empathize with the customer to sometimes to provide a quick solution. The customers are sometimes frustrated, so we need to understand their point of view and help them grasp what the CA results have produced patiently. That we have to do patiently. So this empathizing or dealing with people, negotiating with clients, this part particularly AI will not be able to do, or is currently not able to do. So that is a major limitation I could say on AI. But that is also a plus point for us to develop our skills in those areas, like dealing with customer, negotiating, or our soft developing our soft skills, developing empathy, so that we as CA engineers do not get replaced by AI.
And do you kind of also foresee that in the future, like a CAE engineer will be able to do 10 times more work because of AI, but they will still keep the communication kind of connection part to the job?
Yes, I feel in near future the CA engineer's role would be more of making decisions, uh, or reviewing the reports, while the report preparation or the tedious tasks will be taken care of by AI.
Very interesting. Yeah, we're seeing a similar shift within Bench.
Yes,
We generally see them move the abstraction away of the manual kind of product level tasks when engineers are
yes,
expecting
right.
to move more to the decision and the overseeing layer.
Mhm.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Awesome. Kind of let's look at your previous role with Magna. I'm very curious. So back when you worked with Magna, I don't think AI was a big thing yet, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, yeah. So during those years, I joined Magna in 2023. So during that time, AI was in its primitive stage. There wasn't any discussion on any kind of topic that how it will affect CAE at that time.
Makes sense. And
Yeah.
if you look back to that time of kind of you working within that company, and if you were to try to imagine, I guess your biggest kind of bottleneck in your job back then, or your biggest pain point, where would you like AI to have helped you hypothetically back then?
Biggest bottleneck, I could say, for large organizations like OEMs or tier one or tier two companies. There are huge teams who work on a single project because the companies have a single product, say, for example, seating system. So the communication between each of the individuals who are working as a team, so it becomes difficult if the project is complex. So if AI, if means companies could develop an AI system which could help engineers working in a team to collaborate effectively or to communicate everything without missing any point. So that would be a huge leverage.
What kind of collaboration do you mean? Is it kind of like, let's say, collaboration on a CAD model, and then kind of making sure that no change goes unnoticed, or no request for iteration goes unnoticed, or what kind of a collaboration would that have to be?
Yes. So while working on large and complex projects, and when the deadlines are tighter, there many mistakes happen in during while delivering the project. So it can be slip or it can be memory lapse because sometimes it happens that there is a lot of data, overwhelming data, and people tend to forget some important points or the objective of the project. So there can be a number of objectives. It might happen that due to overwhelming data or due to tighter deadlines, under pressure, they can forget some important points or important objectives to deliver. So AI can help engineers to keep them on same page, to keep all the engineers working in a team on the same page, and uh, it can work as a you can say it can in between it can work as an intermediate helper to remind us it's so and so task done, or it can present us with a checklist to just remind us whether we have taken care of all the things.
Interesting. Let's see. Let's see when that happens.
Okay.
Great. Last question about Magna. I'm curious, for a big company like Magna, not Magna specifically maybe, but for big OEMs or tier ones, what do you foresee their biggest difficulty in adopting AI in their process? What do you think will kind of be the bottleneck there, I guess?
I would say standardization can be a huge hurdle because what happens, not just Magna, but for any large organization, any OEM or tier one companies, they have a standardized process for everything. So standardization it is good to avoid common mistakes, but it can also be a hurdle for innovation. Means if you want to implement any new ideas or any new way of doing things which is easier than the previous one, but the companies will not be means they will be not ready to adopt that new technology so easily because their process doesn't allow them to do because they have a set standardized process and their only objective for setting that standards is to avoid error or to keep mistakes as minimum as possible. So standardization I can say is one major challenge which avoids big companies to adopt AI in their workflow.
Great. We're kind of approaching the end of the episode. So As a last question, I'm curious to see your thoughts on this. So you're clearly optimistic about kind of AI and kind of AI within engineering specifically, based on kind of how much you focus on it online and based on this podcast even. If you were to paint us a picture of what does the CAE workflow look like in the year 2030, so let's say in 4 or 5 years, where do you think this goes? Do you think AI delivers on the promise? And what do you think changes? We kind of touched on this already, but I'm still curious about your thoughts.
Okay. So actually, it's a difficult question to answer because it's really difficult, really hard to predict what will happen 1 year from now, given the development, rapid evolvement of technology. Just 10 years ago, we didn't have smartphones. So it depends on many factors actually, how the chip industry evolves, how many companies adopt AI and new technologies, and so it depends on many other factors. So that's why I think it's difficult to answer how the world will look like in 2030. But I can say that the CAE engineers, or particularly any kind of engineer, their job will shift from doing their current work to something like a decision maker or more towards management roles. So they will just have to monitor, as you also said earlier, and provide directly the output to the customer, or in real time just see how their analysis has made an impact on the real world product.
Makes sense. Awesome. Let's see if that plays out, and also let's see what the timeline on that is. Because as you say, it could be a year, and it could be 8. We never know with AI. Sometimes it
Yes.
develops faster than we expect, and sometimes it develops slower than we expect. So we'll see how it plays out in the CAE world. Awesome, Abhinav. This was great. Thank you very much for your time, and yeah, thanks so much for joining us on the Blueprint podcast.
Yes, thank you, Martin. I enjoyed talking in your podcast.